Hello there, welcome back to my channel, Crafty Concepts with Erin. I have a double page scrapbook layout for you today. I've got 4 photos. I'm documenting this memory of my mom and I just last Christmas season. We had such a good time. We spent the day shopping and just took advantage of some of the amazing decor in the stores while we were shopping to snap some fun photos. And there were just festive trees in all of the shopping centers, so it was a lot of fun. We had a nice lunch that day. It was just really a fun day with mom. She loved this sign, so she's like, get in there, let me take a picture. And then this lamp post with the poinsettias and the big bow, I was just being silly and just loving the festivities of the decor. So she snapped that photo of me kind of swirling around the pole there. So this is a collection called Sentimental Christmas, and it's very appropriately named because it has an old-fashioned kind of sentimental feel to it, but I think it's beautiful. And my mom and I have been Christmas shopping since I was a little girl, so definitely very sentimental photos here. So as you can see, a beautiful Christmas or traditional Christmas color palette. Now, when you look at all these photos, there are a ton of peppermints in all of them. They were even different trees, but the predominant theme here is red and white, kind of that peppermint look. So there are a few pages in this collection. I've got them flipped over. They're all double-sided. So you can see this is one set here. We have these beautiful bows. The opposite side is like a peppermint or candy cane stripe. And then we have that peppermint look in this pattern paper. So we have so many choices. Opposite side are the stockings. And then we have a green diagonal stripe. Now, I already kind of cut into this one for a different project, but that is the opposite. I actually still have all that paper because I abandoned mission on that other project. Does that ever happen to you? You kind of start working on something and it's just, there's just scraps not coming together. So it's just best to walk away. Scrapbooking should be fun, right? So this set, which I probably am going to save these. Let me show you these really quick. For an outdoor layout. I really love this, and you can tell how it's going to work well for a wintry outdoor theme. So I don't want to use those per se on today's layout. Plus, like I said, I really want to play up that peppermint. And this one's really fun. It reminds me of the ribbon candy that my grandma always had when I was growing up. Maybe you had that in your house, or you grew up with a candy dish filled with the ribbon candy when you were a kid. It's just, yeah, I don't know if it was necessarily delicious. It was more for looks, it seems. We have this pattern paper. On the opposite side is this scene. And then this one here, actually, what am I doing here? That's the opposite side of that one. And then these two are the flip side. So you have these beautiful little candles, very old-fashioned, and then the lantern on the opposite side. So anyway, like I said, I want to focus on the peppermints. So let's just bring in those options first to see what we can come up with. I am shuffling paper everywhere here. Let me grab at my Versamats to get this started. I'm going to bring these both in because it is a double page. This does help me stay in frame for you, as well as help me keep my layers straight. I've grabbed a couple sheets of cardstock. This is Real Red, and this is their new two-tone cardstock. So you've got two colors basically in one. We've got the darker or the true version, and then a lighter kind of toned down version of that. But I think I really like the intense red. And then I've got some white paper. And if you look at these photos, there's a lot of black. So we've got red, white, and my mom's wearing black jacket. I'm wearing a black blazer. So I think it'll be fun to bring black into this color scheme. So we might do something. Oh, and there's one more thing I want to use. Let me grab it. I have this Reindeer Memory stamp set, and I love this for titles. So Festive Memories, I think, is going to be a great title. So this is a stamp. I want to stamp it right on the layout, so I need to consider that when choosing my papers because it's going to stand out better on a lighter color as opposed to a darker color, unless you heat emboss it in white, of course, if you want to use that darker background. So let's kind of just play around. I love creating frame style layouts, so we're just going to start there. and play around with our photos here. So these are slightly smaller than a 4x6. With the white border, they are 4x5 1/4. And there's a couple different ways. So if you wanted to do a single page smaller, you could make these all 3x4s and then do a little 3x4 grid on one page if you like to do that. But I do enjoy creating double pages also. So I was thinking maybe just a linear approach here. Actually, I want this one of my mom over here, kind of split us up there, something like that. This works really well when you have just, a row of photos across the center. I don't have a huge story to tell, but I do have some journaling. You could also, do things like this, where you stagger them and you create like a title here. My Festive Memories title could go there. I could have some embellishing here and then maybe some journaling under here. I could do that. Or you could even create a row. If you have a huge story to tell and you need a lot of journaling room, you could do something like that. I do get asked how, some people really enjoy adding like there's more story than there is photos, which is great because that's a great way to document our memories. So again, that would really give you a lot of real estate for journaling. But I think I am going to do this. And then let's look at some of our papers because that definitely might change things, right? So we have these 3 options here, which again, I just absolutely love these. And we could bring some stripes in. Some of my go-tos is creating you take your pattern paper and you go right across the center. So that's always kind of a fail-proof plan. And then maybe mat these on a different color cardstock. Or we could skip this whole background. We could do this and then run these across the center here. That's kind of fun, and just have some cardstock so you have this interest on the top and bottom. Let's explore that option a little bit further. I did cut some black cardstock down because, as I mentioned, I want to bring black in, and let's see how this looks if we just run this across the center. Doesn't that just really pop those photos? That does look good. So I do get asked quite often why I don't print 4x6s, and pretty much the only time I print a true 4x6 is if I'm going to use a 4x6 flip flap and I need it to fit in that flip flap. Otherwise, I enjoy making them smaller because I can take one 12x12 piece of cardstock and cut it in half. So we've got 12x6 inches, and those photos fit on that piece with that color. Because if they, on the top and bottom, if they were a full 6 inches, you would need more than a 6-inch piece, and you couldn't just divide your layout in half. Plus, the scale the iPhone takes them in, is naturally this size. So it works for me. That's kind of fun. I do like this option. It's probably going to be hard to tell which one I want to go with because they're just all so good, right? So that's one option, but I really like this paper too. So again, I want to use that title. So this one here wouldn't leave as much space for the title. I guess I could stamp it there. But if we do something like this, I could stamp my title there and it would really show up. And I do really like this paper here. So maybe I'll do that. And then we can bring in the red around the edge. And then maybe go like that, have our big title there because I think it'll fill that space nicely. And then, yeah, I think I'm just going to do it. I'm going to cut these papers down. I will be right back. As you can see, I went ahead and created that frame style layout around the top, outside edge, and bottom, and they're connected in the middle. And then I've got this strip, which ended up being 5 inches by 11.5. And then I'm bringing these in. Now, I don't know if I'm going to pull this in a little bit. If you do go all the way to the edge, you'd only need a piece of that pattern paper up top and bottom, but I don't know yet. So I wanted to leave myself that freedom. So I better get this tack down here because I know I want it that way. There's no sense in waiting to, I did ink up the edges here and I had a little bit of a whoopsie. There's some black smudgy right here, but honestly, I don't think it looks bad. So we're just going to roll with it. But we can always kind of cover that with an embellishment too, if it is an issue as we put this layout together. So again, I'm just placing these here for now. Let's bring back in the photos and get those placed. So this is my favorite photo of my mom and I. So I want to put this one first. I don't know why I do that. All the photos are important, but I tend to put my favorite on the left-hand side. And let's see, this one here maybe, let's go like this. So I have some options for my journaling. I could, if I want to go all the way across here, split these apart and put my journaling there. And maybe like this, then we can have some embellishments here. Or even if you have more photos, you could put a strip of photos across and add your journaling down on the bottom. Let's go ahead. I know I want to use the title, so let's just make that happen. Let me grab a block here. Whenever you are stamping with clear stamps, it really helps to have some type of foam underneath. So this is foam that came with all of the Close to My Heart stamps. So the back side of the Versamat, if you have that, that is foam. And you can also use craft foam if you do not have either of those things. So I'm making sure this is lined up at the 9. I kind of split the difference there. And I've got real red to coordinate with my pattern or my cardstock here. I've stamped several times already to practice. Let's do it once more for good measure here. And it's stamping beautifully. So once it's stamping nice and crisp on your practice sheet, you're going to get a nice crisp result on your layout as well. So we make sure we don't have any ink on the block, and let me scoot this down so I can get my head over it here. And we're going to stamp that using our paper, let's see, as our line. Straight down, give it just a second, and then straight up. Yay! Looks beautiful. So I thought I was above that paper, but that's okay. We're going to go like that, and it'll look like it's just tucked behind the strip of black cardstock there. That turned out great. I love it. Now, what's great for a layout design or on a layout design like this, if I mess that up, I could very easily cut another piece, just this little rectangle piece of my basic white, stamped it with a stamp positioner because that would fit in a stamp positioner, and then just put it underneath this paper and this paper, and nobody would know that it was patched in. Or if you try on your layout and you mess it up, that would be a great way to fix it and camouflage that whatever mishap you may have had. I have the Decorative Trees Stamp and Die set. I was inspired by all the beautiful trees we saw while we were out shopping, and I thought it might be fun to embellish with these. I am super excited about these. I've already been using them a bit, so I've got some leftovers here. But this is a stamp, so you have an outline and then this inner detail stamp. You can make some borders, and then there's some great sentiments and ornaments and things to decorate your tree. This little star scatter splatter stamp, that could be used for so many different little fillers on different layouts. I really like that. So these are the dies. You can get the dies separately, or you can get it as a bundle and save 10%. I was using this on some of my 31 Days of Christmas cards projects, so I didn't take the time to poke the paper out. But you can see we have an outline die, and the outline fits all of these larger shapes, and then you can just mix and match and create different looks. We've got a plaid. This one's snowflakes if you want to create like a wintry outdoor look. We've got this one here with polka dots or snow, and then these make little garlands, so I'll show you how those work. Now these smaller little trees here, these still do line up with this die. You'll just have to trim off the bottom, which is just one little snip. Super easy. So I'm kind of thinking about maybe just, let's see, I do want to bring my journaling in. I've been on a roll using these. This is something I cut out with my Cricut. Let's just kind of put that there as a placeholder. You could always bring in a tag or something for your journaling, but I love the little notebook edge. So what I'm thinking is just maybe creating a row of these. So you can always use the dies to position those and just get some ideas on what that might look like. And then we can maybe put some trees over here. That would be cute. I do want something else underneath here too. I don't just want the black. So we're going to have to maybe bring in some more pattern paper. So we'll look at that too. But I think that these might be cute like this. I'm going to go ahead and cut a bunch of trees and coordinating colors, and then we can just kind of create those or play around with those to see what they look like. Here's what I've created so far. Now I use the base outline to cut the background out of white, and then so you have this little, gosh, what a mess here. So I cut this out of white and then use the different patterns to cut the top layer, and then just use my Beerly Art Precision Craft Glue to glue those together because it has a nice fine tip for these intricate pieces. So I can always cut more. I just started with these, and I just left one white because I thought that might be fun against the black background. So what if there's so many different things we could do here. So we could just create like a row across the bottom here. Of course, then my white one wouldn't show up. That one needs to be on the black if we use that one. But this might be fun, just creating these little row of trees. I'd have to make some more if I wanted to do that. But we could also, my original thought was to kind of frame in my journaling. Maybe we could hide the fact that that's not all the way to the bottom. Yeah, I don't like how you can see the black. I may need to make that piece a little bit longer. And then maybe these guys over here, we'll put the white one on top, and then we can tuck him in. And then what about this guy here? I'm going to need to make another one of these. Let me do that really quick. And through the magic of film editing, we have another tree. So I mentioned I wanted to create something across the bottom. I do have this piece that was left over from that. I could cut this in half and maybe create a little row with this one. I don't know if I love that pattern against that. I want to bring in that green color. We have a lot of red, so I'm trying to bring in more of this green, which is shaded spruce. So we have this. It's on the other side. You always have to be mindful of the other side if you're going to use that for something else. You know what? I think I like that. I'm going to cut a few strips of this from that other piece that I already cut into. These are 3/4 by 12, and we'll tuck these. Actually, let's lay them over so the trees can kind of be anchored to that piece. Like this, something like this. I think I am going, see, that just looks really bad there. It's distracting, so we could bump this down and then maybe put a little sticker or something up there to fill that space. I think I am going to leave these black pieces a full 12 inches wide, so I already glued that down, but if I had been thinking ahead of time and not glued it down, this is why I dry fit everything. I could have removed that section behind there. So I'm going to go ahead and get those pieces adhered down. I went ahead and actually cut another one of these and then held them together with washi tape just so I can kind of get a better idea of what that's going to look like and fill that space. So the trees are going to cover the lower half, but I think that will be less distracting with it having the white back there rather than the black. So, and by the time I get my journaling on it, you won't even notice that little patch. So let's put these over here. I've glued everything down except for this piece because that way I could just put it over the bottom of those trees to anchor them into place. So we will dry fit our clusters for now. I do like them across the bottom of the page. I think that that is so cute too, but I'm liking this also. So we'll just kind of go with this for now. So I have some poinsettias and sprigs here. Now this is a total Julie made me do it. And I know Chelsea picked this die set up and so did Jama. So you'll probably be seeing it a lot. I know some of us are featuring it in the 31 Days of Christmas card events. I picked this one up and added it to my collection because poinsettias are timeless. I do have a couple poinsettia stamps. I looked through my stash just to make sure before I decided to buy this one. And I have stamp and die sets that you have to kind of color in. So I wanted just a die, and this one is neat because it has all of that veining detail. So I thought this would be a good addition to my Christmas collection. So I'm thinking of putting them on a diagonal to draw your eye across. And now we can just tuck these little sprigs in. I did cut some in black. I only have black in the cardstock and I want to repeat that elsewhere. So we've got some black sprigs, and I want to show you, if you don't have this die set set, but maybe you have this one in your collection. It is a beautiful set for creating clusters. So you have these dies that cut out a couple different sized pine boughs, and then these beautiful greenery dies, and there's also stamps. So you could have stamped stamped and die cut, along with just die cut like these. So this came out several months ago, and I know many of you purchased this one for your collection. So I wanted to remind you about that in case you would want to recreate something similar. You can see I placed those 2 poinsettias on a diagonal, so it's drawing your eye across the layout with those big pops of red. And then it's just a matter of tucking your sprigs in to look nice and work around the title and around your photos, because we're kind of overlapping the elements here. The 2 indoor photos were taken at one of our favorite shops. It's in Granite Bay, and it's called Bushnell Gardens, and they just go all out with their decorating. Of course, it's a plant nursery, but they just make it so festive for any season. So you'll notice here there's a couple borders. I chose the little swirly one, and I want to use it to bring in even more black accents. So we are going to create just a little border of these. I'm practicing first, make sure it's stamping well, and then it'll run across underneath our green striped diagonal paper. So actually, let me mask this off so I don't get it onto my pattern paper there. And then the pattern very easily repeats itself, and if you don't connect it perfectly, just grab your black journaling pen and fix that up. So these little pieces are the little garland, if you will, for the decorative tree sets, and I cut those out in red. There's also a cute little star to top the tree, and then we're just adding some red accents to make this tree more festive. It would be really fun to cut these out in like a silver or gold paper, or even like a glitter paper, and make this like even more festive. So I just love all the little details in this set. You can dress them up, dress them down, and have so much fun. So I am thinking we need another poinsettia over here. I went ahead and die cut another. And let's just see how these look. I didn't like how we had just 1 and 1. So I wanted to have 2 in this cluster, and then 1 up on the upper left with the title. And I think that will be a better balance. So we technically already have a visual triangle of embellishments, but I want a pop of red up top on the right-hand side, kind of in this area. I do not like that. I don't like how those are straight across. That looks a little funny to me. Let's look through. This is my ephemera binder here, and I've got these joyful sayings that are meant for like just Christmas card sentiments ready to go. So this one looks like it'll match. It says holly jolly, and maybe we could create a little cluster with some tags up top and then layer this little sentiment. This lantern is from the Light the Year set. I'm going to glue this bow down. So this just randomly appeared on the layout because it was sitting next to me. It's left over from one of my Christmas card projects, and I thought, well, why not? Let's hang it on the layout. So I'm just kind of trying to, see what works up here. Again, I mentioned maybe some tags. That's kind of one of my go-to embellishment fillers, but I kind of like this down here. Yeah, the text looks better down here because it kind of offsets the title. We could just cut a few more trees. So here's a green one, and I cut a red one, and we can layer these down. Now we'll have to tuck them behind the paper because they're a bit too tall for this space. And I think that, you know what, I like that. That's the ticket. So let's use one of these backers here because it was showing the green through the plaid and it looked a little bit cluttery. So I like it. I like it a lot. We're going to go with these 2 trees and skip the tags. I cut one more because I wanted an odd number, and we'll scoot him down so he's tiny. And then let's stamp. I might regret this. I'm going to stamp this right down here in real red. Fa la 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 la. That is from this stamp here. I just thought it was pretty cute. And then you'll notice I added little tiny peppermint embellishments. Those are the cutest embellishments. They're currently out of stock, but they should be available very soon. They just make the cutest little poinsettia centers, but they would also be great just kind of scattered around your embellishment clusters. I also added the journaling, and I am super happy with how this layout turned out. You can find everything I used in the description box below. And thank you so much for hanging out with me today. If you're looking for more Christmas inspiration, then definitely watch these videos right here. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up button if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you soon here on YouTube.